my name is Emily. I'm a yoga teacher here in South Florida, and today I'm going to be offering you a nice grounding flow to kind of get out of our heads and into our bodies. Just some gentle movement. We'll start with some simple breath work to really tap in to ourselves and work with some intention setting before we get moving into a more dynamic flow. The flow will be all levels, so it'll be accessible to wherever you're at in your practice, and I'll offer modifications as well. You don't need anything except a yoga mat. I do recommend maybe if you have 2 blocks on hand, you can grab blocks if you want to use them as props or for any modifications. You can also stack a few books on top of each other or roll up a blanket or towel, or if you have a little pillow, sometimes those things work well too. So let's get started in a nice seated position, comfortable cross-legged, or however you like to get nice and rooted. You can root down through the sit bones. If you do have those blocks on hand, sometimes it's nice to take 2 blocks or just 1 block and stack them or set them beside each other and just sit on top of the blocks to just elevate the sit bones a little bit. I really like this variation as of late because I am 6 months pregnant, so I'm using a lot of props, I'm doing a lot of modifications. So if it's difficult or seems difficult for me to demonstrate any movements or postures, I'm going to use little babe as the excuse. So let's get nice and grounded wherever you are, on your blocks or on your mat. Really root down through the sit bones and feel as if there's a long line of energy rising up from the root chakra, the Mula Bandha, or the pelvic floor, all the way up through the spine and out through the crown of the head. So sitting up nice and tall, the shoulders dropping away from the ears. And for our purposes today, let's have the palms facing down on the thighs or the knees. And in most of my classes, I usually give the option to either have the palms facing upward to receive different types of energy, or downward to feel more grounded. And since we're trying to do a little bit more of a grounding flow to get centered today, I recommend having the palms facing down. So close the eyes softly, just soften the gaze, soften the edges, and start to come into your breath. Tapping into our aparigraha, non-possessiveness, non-hoarding. It's one of the yamas in yoga. And let's make that our theme today. So non-possessiveness, non-hoarding. How can we let go of this feeling of needing all these things to feel safe, to feel complete? And how can we cultivate that feeling without the need for so much stuff? Sitting up nice and tall. Feel like a ray of light is coming out through the crown of the head, through the crown chakra. And setting your intention for our practice today. It can be as simple as a mantra. Maybe you are focusing on aparigraha, non-possessiveness. You'd like that to be your intention. if you have a different intention or a dedication, something or someone you'd like to dedicate this practice to, I invite you to start to cultivate that here before we head into our flow. Let's work with the breath a little bit to just calm the nervous system fully. So inhaling in through the nostrils for a count of 4. And really fill the belly as you take that inhale. Really feel the belly fill up. Feel the ribs expand. Hold the breath at the top. And then exhale out through the nostrils for a count of 4. Let's take it again, this time inhaling for a count of 6. Fill the belly up. Hold. Exhale, empty the belly, draw the navel to spine for a count of 6. Really empty out the belly. This time inhaling for a count of 8. Hold. And exhaling for a count of 8. You can go for a count of 8 again, or if you feel like you can take longer breaths, maybe for a count of 10 or longer. Always working on expanding that exhale and drawing it out as much as possible. So take another inhale for a count of 8 to 10. And exhale. Start to bring it back down. So inhaling for a count of 8 once more. Exhale for 8. Inhale for a count of 6. Exhale for 6. Inhale for 4. And exhale for 4. Gently blink the eyes back open. And just take note of how you feel, the space you've created already. And if you have blocks underneath the sit bones, you can go ahead and remove those. I'm just going to start with some gentle stretches of the neck, working our way down. So get nice and rooted through the sit bones, maybe rock back and forth. Really root down through the Mula Bandha. And start to bring the chin down towards the chest. So just opening up the back of the neck, the thoracic spine. The cervical spine. And then take the chin up towards the sky. Open up through the front of the throat. Take it back to center. Take the right ear down to the right shoulder. So keep your shoulders nice and level as you do so. Don't make sure you're not hiking the right shoulder up towards the ear. You want to bring the ear down towards the shoulder and create space in the left side of the neck. If this is enough, you can stay right here. Otherwise, you can walk that left fingertips out off the side of the mat. Maybe you can take the right hand around to the side of the head. And we're not pushing or pulling here with any force. We're just creating some gentle space. You can also play with elevating the left fingertips off of the mat and see how that feels. You should get a nice sensation from the left ear all the way out through the left fingertips. Keep those shoulders dropping down. And release it. Come into the other side. Left ear comes to the left shoulder. Stay here. Take your variations. Taking the hand around, walking the fingertips out. And create space. Breathe into the side of the neck. And release that. Take it back to center. We'll just start to make some gentle neck circles. So taking half neck circles to start, taking one ear to either shoulder. And if you feel comfortable, you can go for some full neck circles. So it's nice to move nice and slowly here. This is a delicate area. We want to be very gentle when we're working with the cervical spine. And just give your body time, work through the kinks. If you haven't already, you can switch the direction of the circles. We'll meet back in center and just take some shoulder rolls. So maybe let's roll the shoulders forward 3 times. So bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, exhaling, taking them down. Inhaling up towards the ears and rolling down. Inhale, exhale. And then taking the other direction. Inhale, exhale. Down the back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Bring the hands to the knees, seated cat-cows. So inhale, open up the chest, draw the shoulder blades closer together, little arch in the spine, really open up through the heart. Maybe the gaze comes up slightly. Make sure you're still rooting down through your sit bones. And then exhale, round out the spine, pull the navel towards the spine, puff up the back of the heart. Some curvature in the back is okay. We're really rounding out from the lower back here. And then inhale to open it back up, draw the shoulder blades together, expand the heart. Exhale. Inhale, open up the heart. Exhale, round it out. Inhale, expand. Tuck the tail. Inhale to expand. And then bring it back to neutral, come into some thoracic circles. So keeping the palms where they are, right on the knees. You can open it up as we come forward, opening the chest up and drawing the shoulders back. And then exhale, taking that same tuck of the tail and coming back and around. So make sure your sit bone isn't popping up as you come around. You're not rocking back onto your tail. You want to keep a nice grounded pelvis. We're just making some nice big circles from the midline. Exhaling as you come back and inhaling as you open up. So it's very important that we sync our breath with our movement. That's what's going to keep us grounded and centered. This practice is all about synchronization of the body and the breath. And once you come back to center, we can take it in the other direction. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Meet me back at center. Take one more full Ujjayi breath in through the nostrils. And exhale out through the mouth. Let it all go. Inhale to sweep the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands through to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Sealing our energy. And then let's swing the legs around. You can meet me in a tabletop position on your mat. So in tabletop, we want to have the shoulders stacked directly over the wrists and the hips stacked directly over the knees. So we have a nice strong foundation here. Let's take some little wrist stretches before we start to bear any weight on our hands. So we'll just flip the palms so that the fingertips are facing back towards the knees. Now this is a pretty intense wrist stretch. If this is a lot for you, you can take maybe one hand at a time. Maybe you can just have the fingertips facing out towards the side of the mat like this instead of completely facing your knees. And if you feel like you need a little bit more, you can tuck the toes and maybe start to sit the hips back towards the heels. It'll give you a little bit more of a stretch. And then flip it over, come onto the tops of the hands. Wiggle the fingers around, open and close fists. You can bend and straighten the elbows. And then just sit back onto either tucked or untucked toes and just shake out the hands. If you want a little bit of a stretch in the bottoms of the feet, you can tuck the toes, just releasing any tension. We'll come back to our tabletop and take it through some cat-cows. So inhaling, draw the chest forward between the shoulders, bring the shoulder blades closer together, the belly can dip slightly. The gaze comes up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, draw that navel up towards the spine, puff up through the back of the heart. Inhale, draw the heart forward. Shoulder blades pinch together. Exhale, round it out. Inhale, heart pulls forward. Exhale, tuck the tail, puff it up. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, cat. Take it back to neutral and just make some big circles from the hips, taking any free movement that feels good to you. So moving in one direction, sinking the hips back down towards the heels. And just move in a way that feels good to you. This is about expressing yourself. There's really no right or wrong here. Just make sure you move in both directions. If you took circles in one direction, maybe move the other way. Maybe take some spinal waves, whatever feels good. We'll meet back in our tabletop. And from here, let's extend the right leg out. So come onto the toes of the right leg, the right foot, and then bring the leg all the way up. So elevating it off of the floor, but we want to keep the hip points facing down towards the mat. So the hip's not opening up like this. We want to keep a nice solid core, a nice solid foundation. So maybe flexing through that right foot to help facilitate the inward rotation of the hip. And then extend the left arm out. So we're in our balancing table here. We want the gaze to be nice and neutral down towards the floor to protect the back of the neck, protect the neck. And then pull the navel in so we're not sinking down, but we're pulling up nice and strong. Hold it here. You can stay right here for about 2 more breaths, or you can bend to that right knee and reach around for the inside of the right ankle with the left arm for tiger pose. So kicking back and opening up the heart. A little bit of a back bend. And release if you took tiger. Drop that left hand back down to meet the right. And we're going to pivot out onto this left shin and then stack the right hip over the left, either pointing or flexing through that right foot for our kneeling half moon. So stack the right shoulder over the left, reach the fingertips nice and wide up towards the sky, and make sure you're stacking the right hip on top of the left, so we're opening up the hips here. The gaze can be wherever it feels comfortable for you. Again, you can stay right here working on strength, stability, balance, or you can bend into this right knee and reach around for the top of the right foot. Maybe pull the right heel in towards the glute for a little bit of a quad stretch. And if this is not accessible, either stay right here in your kneeling half moon, or just try to reach for your foot. Maybe you can reach your foot and you're here, and that's all you can do today. That's perfect. One more breath wherever you are. Release back to your kneeling half moon if you took a variation. And then we're going to lower that right foot all the way down to the floor like we're coming into a warrior 2. So the blade of the right foot is in line with the back of the mat. And then use your core. Lift yourself up for gate pose. So we're on the left knee. Outer blade of the right foot is grounding down into the mat. And take that left palm up and over, flip it towards the ceiling and exalt. Left side body stretch. And then just windmill the arms all the way back down. We'll meet back in our tabletop. You can reset with a few cat-cows if you like here. And we'll come into the other side. So extend that left leg out, come onto the toes of the left foot. Really press down through the hands and lift away from the mat. So protract the shoulder blades, puff up through the back of the heart. Gaze is neutral, maybe in between the hands. And then elevate that foot up off the floor. So remember, maintain nice square hips here. We want the 2 hip points to be facing down towards the mat, so we're not opening up just yet. We want nice closed hips. And then extend that right arm forward. Balance in table. Hold it here for 3 breaths. You can stay here or reach around for your tiger pose. Kicking the foot back into the hand. So we're not kicking up, we're kicking back. And that's going to help open up the chest. Inhale, reach it back to our balancing table. Drop the right hand down to meet the left. Pivot out onto that right knee. Stack the left hip over the right. Kneeling half moon. Pointing or flexing through the elevated foot. Stacking the hip. Stay right here or go for your quad stretch. Where's your breath? Remember to breathe. That's what this is all about. If you took the quad stretch, extend everything back out. And then drop that left foot all the way down like a warrior two. Use the cord, windmill yourself all the way up. Arms parallel to the mat. Flip the right palm and exalt your gate pose. Feel the stretch through the right side of the body. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. And then exhale. Take the hands all the way down. Meet back in our tabletop. You can take a couple cat-cows again. Maybe roll out the ankles. Come onto the knees and just roll the ankles out a little bit. And then from table, let's tuck the toes and elevate the knees just an inch or two off the mat. Really press away from the mat, protract the shoulder blades for your floating table. And then start to press it back so that the belly comes towards the thighs for turbo dog. So keep a nice neutral neck here, maybe gaze towards the toes. And then start to straighten out the legs, maybe widen your stance a little bit for your first downward facing dog. We'll take a few breaths here just to get situated in our down dog. You can pedal out the feet, bend and straighten the knees. Really press back and engage through all 10 finger pads. Sorry, I'm having a little issue with my bun. Really engage through all 10 finger pads in your downward facing dog. And the area of the hands you want to focus on as well is that L-shaped region of the hand. So the thumb and pointer finger, that's where you want to distribute most of your weight to keep the weight out of your wrists. One more breath. From downward facing dog, let's inhale the right leg all the way up. Step it through between the hands. Step the left leg all the way up to meet the right. Inhale, come up to a flat spine. So bring the fingertips in line with the toe tips or to the shins and create a flat back. So almost as if I could balance a cup of water on your back. Nice neutral neck. And then exhale. Fold forward. So let the head hang nice and heavy. Just let the hands drop to the floor. You can also grab opposite shoulders. Opposite elbows. My belly gets in the way of my forward fold, so if you see me taking a wider stance than normal, that's why. And then inhale back up to a flat spine, fingertips in line with toe tips or to the shins. And we'll inhale all the way up to stand with a nice flat spine. Roll the shoulders back, palms facing out for Tadasana, mountain pose. Root down through the feet. And just notice how you feel here. Maybe you're starting to feel some energy or prana starting to move through your body. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward, nice flat back. Inhale up to a flat spine. And then take the hands down to frame the feet. Step it back to a plank, and we'll come through our first vinyasa. So it can be a modified vinyasa. So if you want to roll forward into your plank pose and then come down to the knees, and maybe just take a chaturanga from here, so bending the elbows to a 90-degree angle so that the shoulders are in line with the elbows, and then pressing through, maybe just to high cobra, maybe to upward facing dog, pressing down through the tops of the feet, opening up through the chest, and then rolling over the toes, and pressing back to downward facing dog. Again, this is your practice, so it's completely up to you. You can take modified vinyasas, you can take unmodified, if that's accessible to you, just coming through your chaturanga to upward facing dog, to downward dog. That's a perfect option. Couple breaths in downward facing dog, and we'll come through one more vinyasa. So let's inhale the left leg all the way up this time, and then step it through between the hands. Step the right foot up to meet the left. Inhale, flat spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale to a flat spine. And then rise all the way up, hinging from the hips. Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, flat spine, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back, plank pose, vinyasa of your choice. So an unmodified vinyasa, pressing down through the palms, protracting the spine, roll forward on the toes so the shoulders come past the wrists. Draw the elbows in towards the ribs, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Press into the tops of the feet, shoulders away from the ears, thighs off the floor. Exhale. Downward facing dog. From downward dog, let's inhale the right leg all the way up to the ceiling. Maybe take some big circles at the hip. Maybe some circles at the ankle as well. Take them in the other direction. You can bend and straighten, whatever feels good. Get that right hip open. And then inhale the right leg all the way up to the sky. Exhale, step it through. And we'll rise up into our high lunge. So nice deep bend in this front right knee. Inhale, biceps to ears. We're coming high onto the ball of the back foot so that the heel is stacking over the ball of the back foot. Nice square hips. Right hip pulls back, left hip pulls forward. Isometric movement. And then we're just going to lower all the way down to that back knee. Untuck the back toes for low lunge. So interlace the fingers and just bring the hands to the top of the right thigh. We're going to use this as a little bit of leverage. So just gently press onto the thigh and create a little bit of space for your chest to open up. And you're really going to feel this in your left hip flexor. So if your knee is uncomfortable here, you can double up your mat, maybe create a little bit of cushioning, bring a blanket. You can always pause this video, go grab a blanket or something soft and put it under your knee for some padding. And then we'll release that. Take the hands to frame the right foot. And a nice option here is to take blocks if you have them. You don't need them, but it's just nice to elevate the ground to you sometimes. You can take blocks on whatever level you feel comfortable with. And we'll come back into a half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. So take the hands to the blocks or just to the mat, and then we'll press it back, Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Flex through this right foot. Pull the toes towards the face. Again, a little isometric movement. Left hip pulls forward, right hip pulls back. Inhale to a flat spine. And with every exhale, sink a little bit deeper into the posture. Draw the belly towards the right thigh. Keep the neck nice and neutral. Inhale, flat spine. Exhale, sink. Inhale, flat spine. Exhale, sink. If you use the blocks, you can remove them. And then re-bend into that right knee. Hands frame the right foot. We'll come back up into our high lunge. Well, actually, we'll be in a runner's lunge here. And then take the left hand to the inside of the right foot. And then stack the right shoulder over the left for a lunge twist. So try to maintain nice square hips here. Again, right hip pulls back, left hip pulls forward. Just little isometric movements that you can't really see, but you can feel these movements, and they make a huge difference in your practice. Lunge twist. So the right shoulder is stacking over the left. We're twisting from the belly, reaching up towards the sky. You can stay right here in your twist, or you can elevate up into your water wheel. So elevating the torso up, twisting from the belly, reaching the right arm back, left arm forward. You can stay here or you can exalt. Reaching the left fingertips towards the back of the mat. And then windmill the arms all the way down to the inside of the right foot. Heel toe the right foot all the way to the right edge of the mat. Come down onto the left knee for lizard. You can stay high up on the hands in lizard, or you can come down onto the forearms for a little bit of a deeper variation. A nice option is also to take the forearms to a block or something that's elevated. Take 3 to 5 quality breaths here. You can stay on the forearms if you came down, or you can rise back up to the hands if that feels better for you, if it's more accessible. I'm going to stay down on my forearms. And then pulling the right knee in towards the ribs, take a bend in the back knee and reach around with the right hand and pull the heel towards the glute, quad stretch. And if you can't reach your foot, it's nice to just take an active version of the posture and just reach around. If not, you can just stay in your lizard. And then release it. Take the hands to the inside of the right foot. Heel toe the right foot back to center. Take the hands to frame the right foot. Rise up onto that back knee. Frame that foot, step it back for plank, and take your vinyasa. Take 5 breaths here. If you feel like you need a child's pose, you're always welcome to that. So you can lower down, take the knees mat width apart, and just walk the hands forward. And bring the forehead down to the mat, so draping the body in between the legs. Sinking the hips down towards the heels. If your forehead doesn't reach the mat and it's creating tension in the back of your neck, you can stack 1 or 2 fists and rest the forehead on the fists, or you can take your block. Come out of the resting posture of your choice, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale the left leg all the way up, and then make those big circles from the hip. And take it in the other direction. Circle the ankle. And then inhale the left leg all the way up. Step it through between the hands, high crescent. Inhale the arms up, biceps to ears, bending deeply into that front knee. If you feel too much curvature in your lower back, you can take a little bit of a bend in the back knee. And then slowly lower all the way down to the right knee. Low lunge, untuck the back toes. Interlace the fingers, take the hands to the left thigh. And just press away and create space. Again, you can put something under your knee here. Release that. Take the hands down to frame the left foot. If you took your blocks here, that's an option, or you can just take the hands to frame the foot as we press it back for Ardha Hanumanasana. So straighten out through the left leg. Flex through the left foot. It's really going to engage the hamstrings and pull the toes towards the face. Inhale to a flat spine. And exhale, draw the belly towards the thigh. Inhale to a flat spine, and exhale, sink deeper towards the leg. Inhale. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, re-bend into that knee. Hands frame the left foot. Elevate through that back knee. You're in your runner's lunge. Take the right hand to the inside of the left foot for lunge twist. So right hand comes to the inside of the foot. We're stacking the left shoulder over the right. Try to keep those nice square hips. Back leg is really engaged here, so engage through the quads. And you can stay in this twist. An option for this too, if you can't find your balance, is to come down to that back knee, and you can take it on your knee for a modification. So coming up into water wheel. You can elevate up onto that knee, or again, just stay down, twisting open from the belly and the chest, and then exalt, right side body stretch. Take an inhale, And then exhale, windmill the hands down to the inside of the left foot. Heel toe that left foot all the way out to the edge of the mat. And if you're not already on your knee, lower down to the right knee, untuck the toes. We're coming into our lizard lunge. So stay high up on the hands, or again, come down onto the forearms. You can use your block for some elevation. So lots of options here. You can have the left knee flaring out a little bit, and you can come onto the blade of the left foot. So that's not wrong, but I encourage you to work on pulling the left knee in towards the ribs if you do choose to take the variation where you're bending into the right knee and reaching around with the left arm to pull the right heel in towards the glute. It's going to help you to get more of a quad stretch if you pull this left knee in. If you're not taking the variation, maybe it's nice to just let that hip open up. Nice quality breaths here. One more breath. Rise back up to the hands if you were on the forearms. Heel toe that foot back to center. Hand frame the left foot. Elevate onto that back knee. Step it back for plank. And come through a vinyasa of your choice. Maybe you like to lower down knees, chin, and chest. So as I just did, coming from plank, lowering to the knees, hugging the elbows in towards the ribs, lowering down to the chest and the chin. And it's hard for me to demonstrate this because I can't fully go on my belly, but you would slither through for low cobra or high cobra. And then exhale, back to downward facing dog or back to child's pose. So once you're finished with your vinyasa, let's all meet in a child's pose. So starting to wind down here. The toes are touching, the knees are mat width. The arms are reaching out towards the front of the mat, and the forehead is sinking down towards the floor. Let the body just melt. If your hips aren't reaching all the way down to your heels and you have a block handy, you can place a block under the sit bones, or you can use a block underneath the forehead and just let your hips be where they are, but relax the neck. Breathe into the ribs. Create space. Start to lift it up and walk it all the way back so that you're sitting on the heels. And we'll take it into a yogi squat. So taking the feet mat width apart and the toes turned out slightly. Try to get the knees stacked over the ankles as much as you can and open up through the hips using the elbows. So I'll show you from this angle. So it's going to look like this. And then come into a prayer position and use your elbows as leverage to press the legs outward. If this is difficult to stay in this squatting position, take a block or anything you have under the sit bones. Nice deep inhales and exhales here. In through the nose and out through the nose. Stay with this for a few more breaths. And then from here, just take the hands to the mat, rise all the way up, heel toe the feet back to hips width distance, and just hang in a forward fold. Hinging at the hips will rise all the way up. Stand in your Tadasana, mountain pose. From here, inhale the arms up and we'll start to sit back into chair pose. So take a slight tuck to the tailbone, try to align the knees over the ankles and shift the weight back into the heels. Take the biceps towards the ears. And then slowly sit all the way down, as slowly as you can, coming all the way down to your mat. Maybe move forward a little bit. We're going to straighten out the legs for a seated forward fold, seated stack. Take the hands on the outsides of the hips, flex through the feet, engage the quads. There's a long line of energy coming up through the crown of the head, just like in our seated position at the beginning of class. Inhale the arms up. And then exhale, hinging at the hips, maintaining the integrity of a flat back. So rather than rounding out like this and shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears, we want to keep a flat back as we come forward. So even if that means you can't come as far forward as you'd like to, just let your body go where it needs to go and then drop the hands alongside the feet. If you can come forward a little bit more and come deeper into your fold, you can grab on to the bottoms or to the outside edges of the feet. Three more inhales and exhales. And then inhale to rise all the way back up. Take the hands just underneath the shoulders. Take a bend in the knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor, about hips width distance apart. We're going to press up for a reverse table. So inhale, lift the hips all the way up. Stack the knees over the ankles. Open up through the chest and maybe let the head go. Engage through the glutes, engage through the quads. Press away from the mat and lift the hips all the way up. Press down through the feet. And then exhale, sit back down. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide for Baddha Konasana. You can take the hands to the outsides of the feet. And your feet can be far forward in a diamond shape, or you can bring them a little bit closer to the groin if your hips are a little bit more open. If you want to have them farther away, if that feels more accessible, that's fine. Holding on to the feet. Inhale. And then exhale, bring the forehead down towards the feet. Again, maintain that nice flat spine. And then once the head comes closer to the feet, you can start to take it down. Inhale, come all the way back up. And just leaving the feet the way they are in Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. We're going to lower all the way down to our backs for Supta Baddha Konasana. So lowering all the way down, one vertebrae at a time, to our backs. And when you get there, take a nice big inhale and a nice big exhale. You can take one hand to your heart and the other to your belly. Feel the rise and fall of your belly and chest. And start to sink into your final rest. So you can stay in Supta Baddha Konasana. You can just extend all the way out, so extending the legs out and flipping the palms open for your traditional Shavasana, or whatever position feels best for you to take your Shavasana. And we'll spend a few minutes here. This is the most important asana of all. It's where we reap all the benefits of our practice. This is where we allow our intention to fully absorb, and all the work that we've done on the mat can be reaped here in your final resting posture. And this is where we heal, and this is where the real work is done. So give yourself this time to heal. Ready to start to bring some awareness back into your body. You can start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe take a nice overhead stretch, moving the arms and legs in opposite directions. You can pull the knees in towards the chest and massage the back, rocking back and forth. And then eventually rocking over to your right side into a fetal position, symbolizing rebirth and renewal. And from this fetal position, you can start to gently press up back into a seated position, bringing our practice full circle. And just come to a comfortable cross-legged position, rooting down through the sit bones, just as we did in the beginning of class. And it's in this posture that we'll seal our practice and seal our energy, bringing our hands to heart center into Anjali Mudra. I hope that this flow, this practice was able to give you a sense of grounding today, help you feel a little bit more calm and stable, and perhaps give you a sense of inner peace, maybe a sense of gratitude for what you have, and not worry so much about things that we think we need. And just being grateful for what we have already, because we have so much. Thank you so much for joining me today for practice. Namaste.